It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a humanoid figure in the sky. Posted by L. Nelson, Gonering in October of 2017. This mysterious humanoid was caught flying or floating over Sydney, Australia. The sighting lasted all of 5 minutes, with this figure disappearing and reappearing as the camera zooms in and out. What do you think this is? Is it explainable, or could it be something not of this world? I've seen similar videos in the past, and they have never been explained either. Could this possibly be connected? I just know I'd question everything if I looked out my window and saw a floating human in the sky. TF141 Ghost goes exploring an abandoned house, one he found on a secret blog about haunted locations in his hometown. He walks slowly across a rotting floor that can barely support his weight, and apparently the floor isn't the only thing left rotting in this house.
As you can see, I mean, it's definitely abandoned. It's been abandoned for, I would say, quite some time now. Give you the grand tour of the kitchen. The tour of the abandoned house. It's kind of creepy in here, I'm gonna be honest. Check out this little door. I was really hoping I'd find something. I have no idea what the that is, so I'm not gonna touch that.
This mysterious object has been delicately wrapped in some kind of deli paper and left hanging. I have no idea what this is, but I'm afraid that it was once attached to someone.
I totally forgot there's an upstairs. Oh, these are rickety stairs. It's about 20 degrees. It's kind of weird. Oh, and what's over here? There is a Bible. There's a Bible next to about 100 toys.
The way the book is facing the camera is creepy, like it was left there on purpose, perhaps to guard against some evil in this room. Maybe an exorcism on someone possessed by a demon took place here. With that in mind, what he does next is very questionable indeed.
I'm gonna grab this Bible and take it with me, because I might need it on the way out. Alright, time to go. I'm just gonna leave this here. That's really...
Hopefully, removing the book didn't freeze something from that attic space. Besides that, I wouldn't want to touch anything that was possibly used during an exorcism anyway. And on top of that, discarding the book without a care seems like really bad luck to begin with. Oh, and one more thing. More bad news, of course. I think there may have been more clues in this hole at the top of the stairs. But what was hiding in there could not have been good. I think I might even see a face. This video of a girl brushing her teeth is said to have been found behind a dumpster by a nearby worker taking a break. Deep voices on the tape sound like they must have been slowed down, but her toothbrush sounds normal, so I don't know what's going on here at all. After 14 seconds of this, movement is heard off camera, and she is ambushed by something that sounds not of this world. I get the impression that she was not aware that she was being recorded because she never looks at the camera. Maybe it was even taken on the other side of a one-way mirror or through a hole in the wall. A YouTuber named JawGuy7 is hanging out at a creek when a mangy lone deer comes wandering up to them. I can't tell for sure, but I think it makes two strange noises that I have never heard come from a deer before. The deer calmly walks past them without any fear and goes to the river but does not drink. Eventually it turns towards them and gives him a cold blank stare. There seems to be no life or thought behind its eyes as it holds him in its gaze. Long strands of drool hang from its lips, indicating possible CWD. Obviously this creature is thirsty, but at the same time it lacks the cognitive facilities needed to take a drink. CWD has left it just smart enough to find a water source, yet far too gone to quench its thirst. Hopefully this was reported to Animal Wildlife Control so they could help the deer. The Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Kentucky has been condemned since the early 60s, though the spirits of its former inhabitants are thought to still roam its rubble-filled halls. Lindsay Rogers leads a ghost hunting team through the dark asylum, and it isn't long before they are engulfed by paranormal activity.
What the?
Holy sh! It sounds like a door opens, and you can see Lindsay looks right, but the door is still shut. There's a second banging noise that almost sounds like a body hitting the ground. Though without more video footage, we'll never know for sure. The homunculus is rumored to be an artificial type of creature that was first discovered sometime during the medieval ages by the way of alchemy. The recipe for this legend has since been lost, but some YouTubers have claimed to have rediscovered a way after doing some tinkering in their kitchen. The process used to create a homunculus is kind of gross. You can look it up if you want, but all I will say is that it involves fertilizing a chicken egg using a syringe. Next, you seal the egg off in a plastic container and keep it warm by wrapping it up in a cloth. For some reason, you also have to keep the area very dark. Perhaps this has something to do with witchcraft. No one can touch or disturb the egg in the slightest. You can't even look at it. If you do, you will kill the homunculus before it can hatch. After enough time has passed, about 10 days or so, you remove the egg from its container. The egg appears to have developed some sort of infection, but this could also be some normal part of the process. The YouTuber cracks open the disgusting egg, and this is what he finds laying inside.
Вот он наглядно виден, но это существо, конечно же, не может обладать какой-то высокоразвитой формой интеллекта. В лучшем случае это что-то на уровне амебы. Или там, может быть, медузы.
This tiny creature has no discernible features except for some long tendrils attached to a shriveled up central body. It looks like a chewed up white piece of gum, except it moves. Apparently, they are no smarter than a jellyfish. Maybe the ones from medieval times were more advanced. There's videos out there that tries to prove the homunculus experiment is fake, but then again, maybe they didn't do it right. Maybe they didn't wait long enough or else made some noise. The process is reportedly very delicate and can take at least a couple tries to master. The Art Man channel is full of various lighthearted adventures taken from all around the country, but there's one video from his stay in Carpinteria, California that's way different from the rest. Art is wading in the water when he sees the last thing any surfer wants to see, a pointy fin barely poking above the surface.
What? What the f? That's creepy.
Art watches in stunned silence as a sizable great white shark swims by the nose of his boat, less than 10 feet away. It's not full grown, but it's still large enough to make a meal out of one of his arms or legs if it so desires. Fortunately, the shark moves on without much hesitation, and Art makes a beeline to the shore. If this is a different kind of shark other than a great white, please let me know. That's what it says in the video's description and title, but I honestly can't tell for sure. This strange video has me doing a double take, shared by TikToker UaBerm1997 and originally shared by BJoshua0902. The video shows a couple of partiers going down a water slide, but watch the second one closely. It looks like a second pair of legs is sticking out to the side. Watch again. Is someone following closely behind the woman? It doesn't appear so. When she splashes into the water, no one pops up behind her. So what's going on here? The only explanation I can see is that there was another person following closely behind that somehow swam out of view during the splash, but I don't know. It sure doesn't look like that's what's happening. What do you think is going on here? A 47-year-old man falls 200 feet at Yosemite National Park, and now rescue workers are scrambling to save him. The only way to get him out of the wilderness is by helicopter. Here you can see one of them bravely volunteering to be lowered hundreds of feet below. I'm sure they are using the best equipment possible, but I can't help fearing for his life as he slowly descends.
They were seeing now the CHP sent out a chopper with a 3-person crew to look for him. They found the man at the 6,500-foot elevation spot.
They come back with the man tightly secured by 3 straps across his arms, chest, and legs. The trained professionals seem to have complete control over the situation, and none of the equipment comes loose as they bring him on board to safety. I'm not sure what became of this person, so if anyone has more information, please provide us with an update so we know if he pulled through. It just goes to show you at any point in time, while hiking, there's always a slight chance of something going wrong. In this video published by Urban Exploration in August of 2016, you can see a man in a black hoodie standing very still outside some near steps. Looking down through the uploader's window, the creep appears frozen there. The video describes what happened. For the past 4 days, I have seen a man standing in front of my building, wearing a black hoodie looking through the windows of my apartment. This video is proof as my friends and family don't believe me. This was recorded on August 22nd, 2016 at around 3 a.m. After a minute or so of footage of this creep standing there, the YouTuber races out of the room, down the stairs, into the area to investigate. Only there's no one there when he arrives. The camera scans around, but the stalker is not in sight. Was he lurking in some nearby bushes? We can only guess. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Fighters travels to the same tunnel system as Dark Arts TV. He is explaining his nervous anticipation when a loud scrape occurs directly over his shoulder. No one is near him. You can tell by everyone's distant chatter that they are pretty far away. Listen for yourself and tell me if you agree no one else was nearby. At least no one alive.
This video is going to be far.
They all get a really bad feeling upon discovering what could be fragments of human. Look at this part and tell me if he is tossing a part of someone's jaw or just a random piece of debris. I was wondering if these could belong to an animal, but then they discover a large collection of combs left over top. Like this one, for example. So I think we may have sadly found our answer. They are ready to leave before they come across any other horrible discoveries, but something follows them. This extremely creepy low laugh follows them on their way out, while the rest of the audio remains the same. In fact, what's especially scary is how one of these girls lets out a small chuckle shortly before this noise comes out.
People like pull the fire game. Alright, so right now, our homie scared of spiders. We're trying to...
Almost as if it's laughing in response. Listen for yourself and tell me if you think this is edited or not. When a YouTuber named Lil Goofy is exploring some trails with his friend, they decide to take a rest. That's when someone decides it's time to make them run. Somebody who's probably been following them for a while. The sun is settling, but there's still enough light to catch a potential lurker video on their helmet cam. At 1 minute and 8 seconds, they think the strange man waves hello, but he might be waving around something sharp instead. They debate what to do next, and then he makes the decision for them when he runs straight at them. They lose him fast and crouch down in the weeds to let the lunatic run past, and then they go back to their car. What's weird about this video, assuming that it's real, is that he's dressed like a normal person. You wouldn't think twice about passing the stranger on a trail until they are already following you. It's probably one of their friends, but we'll never know for sure, and that's what makes it creepy. Some people think photographs capture the soul. Maybe this soul didn't want to be captured. Published by Dark Life in June of 2021, this poltergeist isn't playing around. While snapping photos in this haunted room, Russian paranormal investigator Dennis hears a rustling that he says sounds like it's coming from the basement. As he continues to take pictures, a massive wardrobe to his right is pushed over onto the ground. He leaves the room, and when he goes to re-enter it, he hears some strange sparking noises while standing in the doorway. The sounds stop. He looks around, asks who is there, but no one answers. Still, he appears to sense something watching him. Is Dennis alone here, or are the spirits all around him? This most haunted hospital in Guadalajara carries an evil energy, and this crew is there to investigate it. When they turn down a dark hallway, they appear to see some movement.
Más habitaciones.
Oye, acabo de ver algo que se
Algo que
asomó.
se cruzó,
¿Lo viste?
¿verdad? Sí.
Ah, ya, al fondo.
Things intensify as they start to hear noises in the hospital.
Hoy. Ok, aquí es donde está poniéndose más tenso.
They walk down the hallway and come across a creepy surgical room.
Mira esto.
Es que es impresionante este sitio.
Mira esto.
They feel a presence in the chapel.
Que son utilizados, bueno, para parte de esto, pero para otras cosas más pesadas. Si escuché esa voz. Muchas veces no lo quiero decir porque espero que la gente lo diga, pero sí lo escuché. Tú lo escuchaste.
Then they hear something unexpected.
Ah, madre, ¿dónde está el perro? Ya me lo imaginé que venía detrás. No, sí, está bien el perrito entonces.
Is that Cujo? They seem to hear something in this room.
Incluso siento energía en el cabello.
Later, they walk down the hallway into a room where many people say they feel anguish.
Cuando pasábamos por vidrios o espejos.
Mira, otra vez.
Ok.
Otra vez con suave.
Como la gente dice, se siente angustia en ese cuarto.
The woman also explains why they light candles to spirits instead of offering up their own energy.
Yo siempre ofrezco mi energía, la verdad.
Eso no es tan bueno, Ricky.
Eso no es bueno. ¿Qué me puedes decir eso?
No. Una, pues les estás diciendo que pueden tomar toda tu energía.
Well, I didn't see anything terrifying on this hospital tour. I do feel the energy being sucked out of me just watching this. Do you feel the same? This video isn't as long as the others, so I'm not going to spend much time on it, but that doesn't mean it's any less creepy. Brian Orban is cruising down the street in northeastern Pennsylvania when he turns off on an old dirt road to get to his friend's house. As he pulls up, this large humanoid figure is caught on dash cam. The head, hands, and feet are white, but the body looks brown. It's slightly bent over and does a weird hopping run to get away. Brian thinks this could be a mysterious creature because it wasn't one of his friends. Then again, this video was recorded a couple weeks before Halloween, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was planned. Tell me if this is an unknown creature or a friend in a costume. Zach from the Adventures of Zach and Bee is sure that a wild animal is in his attic. It's dark up there, so he takes the camera with him for light. The noise coming from his attic is unlike anything I've ever heard before. It sounds like a baleful combination of scratching, growling, and howling. Zach doesn't bother going any deeper, and I really can't blame him. Unfortunately for him, it sounds like something follows him on the way out.
Well, I don't see anything, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
An unseen voice says don't, and I think it also says get out of here too. Obviously, this is a real human voice and not an animal after all, and whoever was making that noise remains a mystery. A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose, but the doctor needs to run some tests first. So he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up, speaking slowly and still looking dazed. If you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. In mythology, jinn are beings that appear in human form and are of a spirit level lower than angels. They have been known to possess humans. It appears one is possessing this boy in this video. An attempt to exorcise the demon is being made. As a man chants, the boy sits in a chair beside him, completely out of it. The boy shakes his head, making demonic voices. While the man continues to chant, he starts to rock with the music, his body shaking more and more. The man eventually puts a hand on his head, and the song stops. The boy is gasping for breath. They spray him in the face with a spray bottle of some liquid, perhaps holy water. The man later continues in his chant, patting the boy and moving him around variously. The boy becomes still and quiet for a while. Not long after, you can hear screaming from the other side of the room. Finally, you can see where it's coming from. Another woman, also appearing possessed. Was this boy at last exorcised of the jinn, or did it simply just make its way into this other woman's body? A store security cam in Malaysia has caught a ghost on tape, a strange figure that can teleport at will, and it's got the owners freaking out. I would be freaking out too. 55 seconds is when you can see there's nobody in these clothes. No chest, no head, no hands. Just clothes forming the outline of a person who isn't there. Then at 1 minute and 30 seconds, it sprouts a freaky gray featureless face. And did you see that even scarier, more mysterious figure behind her? 1 minute and 26 seconds is when a much taller shadow figure with a red face appears behind her and then mysteriously goes away. This could be a possession, a ghost, or a demon sighting, or even a hostile takeover from another planet, but it could also simply be video editing. Oh, and of course, this creepy encounter happened at 3:14 in the morning, just 14 minutes shy of 3 a.m., a time when the supernatural world is said to fully open with our own. With a name like Forest of the Black Cross, this place is bound to experience some shady supernatural happenings. Captured and published to YouTube in July of 2021, the crew are filming at night in the dark and haunted forest, and what they encounter does appear to be supernatural. Something is disturbing the forest, and as they zero in on it, they spot the dreaded figure amongst the thick brush. The scary footage captures the face of a wild beast with glowing orange eyes, sharp features, and a gray tone. It looks unlike any other forest creature, and unlike any human figure at that. The crew rightly freaks out, and as a deep growl rumbles through the forest, they flee as fast as their legs will carry them. As they race away, howling is heard into the night. Were they really faster than this werewolf, or did the wolf simply find other more alluring prey? A YouTuber named Jonathan Russo is renovating a room in his home when he discovers something out of place. He taps on a bottom portion of the wall and it sounds hollow, so he cuts away a hole.
And I find a hidden room underneath the house.
The space is lined with old bricks and carries an ominous and foreboding atmosphere. Jonathan feels very out of place and doesn't stay for long.
It's pretty creepy.
The room itself appears to have no structural purpose and seems to be walled off for no reason. This, combined with Jonathan's reluctance to go any further, raises some questions. I wonder what happened in there, if anything, that would cause a previous owner to seal it away. The jinn is back. That's right, the shape-shifting creature of Arabic mythology that is said to have the capacity to possess humans is yet again making an appearance in this clip. Hassan Barbar believes he's caught one on camera. Posted in January of 2020 on YouTube, he writes in Arabic, "I've never seen a jinn before." Outside of a stone building, the man captures something on film peering out at him from behind a palm tree. It pokes its head out briefly before drawing back into hiding. As he approaches the palm tree, you can hear movement coming from within it. He continues to wander around the premises until he starts to hear something swinging. Turning the camera towards the sound, he finds an old swing set. One swing flings back and forth, though no one is there to push it, nor does the night appear at all windy, as the trees remain unmoving. A short while later, when he is in front of the entryway to the building, a window pane slides closed. Again, it appears as though no one is there to close it. Do you believe in jinn? This video has me creeped out to the max. Whoever shot this footage claims to have been filming back in 2008. They were exploring an abandoned house and decided to start filming after hearing a strange noise. It's a very short clip since it wasn't long before they were running out of the house screaming. Reviewing the footage again, you can clearly see that this is not an ordinary forest creature. Its front legs bend inwards as it runs, kind of like a human running on all fours. It doesn't appear to have much of a face, yet it can somehow make a terrifying scream. The humanoid appears to be ready for the cameraman as soon as he opens the door. It approaches aggressively, but also with a hint of caution, for it rushes at the cameraman at only half speed. It also doesn't seem to pursue him when he starts running, which means it's probably just claiming its territory and wants to be left alone. The YouTuber who uploaded this video says that this is not their only encounter with the creature. Another time they were exploring the abandoned house with a friend and a knife. They peer into the house from the front yard and listen for any signs of the creature inside. They don't hear anything, so they decide to go further in to investigate. That's when they hear its disturbing warning cries. It sounds like a mix between a squealing pig and some sort of enraged dinosaur. The two quickly turn off their flashlights and remain quiet in the dark. Then they slowly get up and start sneaking away, but just when they think they are safe.
The heck is that? Oh, shoot, no! Shoot! Just get out of the house! Get out of the house! Just get back to the house! Just get back to the house! What's that? Jesus Christ.
They run back full speed to their nearby home. When they review the footage, they vow to go back to the property the next day with guns, but they never got the courage to follow through. Since the monster never chased them in either video, perhaps it was just as uncertain of them as they were of it. While walking down an empty street at night, this man encountered not one, but 3 witches. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit by Enrique Glue, he hears them before he sees them. The witches are making these horror movie noises that are creepy in and of themselves. As he walks, he spies this figure off to his right. He then makes a run for it, but their scary wails follow him. Next, he spies this figure to the left. He continues running as the screaming gets crazier. And lastly, another figure in white coming from this alleyway to the right. Many in the comments think the noise sounds like cats or an upset husky. Others say this is obviously the call for the witch meeting. What do you think is happening here? I can't imagine it's anything good. When YouTube personalities are filming, they often capture the unexpected in their footage. and sometimes they capture the paranormal. Marissa Rochelle published this video in August of 2016. Marissa explains that when she was filming a back-to-school video, when she left her camera rolling and left the room, she turned off some of the lights but left one light on and was gone for around 2 to 3 minutes. When she returned, the only thing slightly out of the ordinary was that Marissa noticed her camera had tilted downward. Still, this wasn't that unusual because the heavy camera often tilts on its tripod. She continued filming. It wasn't until Marissa watched back the footage that she saw this nightmarish hand. Her sister Shauna was editing the film when she called Marissa over to take a look at this creepiness she spotted on camera. When she gets up to go retrieve the prize, you can hear the door close as she leaves the room.
And I did keep one light on just so that I would be able to find my way back in the dark.
After 2 minutes of radio silence, you can see the camera slowly falling downward. As the shot falls below her bed, something to the left beneath her bed moves quickly out of the shot. Marissa says it looks like a child's hand. Shauna and Marissa searched beneath the bed to see if there was anything there that might move like this, but they came up short. A child ghost, a doll come to life. What's beneath Marissa's bed? Whatever it may be, my guess is that it's very nefarious. Another poltergeist is haunting an abandoned church, and this one isn't so playful. Published to YouTube in July of 2021, this abandoned church has some supernatural visitors. Inside the church, amongst the whistling in the wilderness, something thuds nearby. The boys hold still, trying to listen for more unexplained noises. Moments later, they are standing there, casting light on the wall, when a distant, low-pitched moan is heard in the background. Well, in what looks like a basement space with lots of old items stored, a blast of sound is heard in the next room.
Güey, ¿qué pedo? Ven. Güey, ven. Se oyó acá, se oyó allá. Se oyó allá, güey.
Something heavy and out of sight was thrown on the ground. As the boys attempt to speak to the spirit, another strange moan sounds faintly. And then a couple of shelf doors are slammed shut with great force. In another area of the haunted church, several small successive thuds are followed by a strange double beep. They quickly get away from that space. Later, when peeking around a corner, a cabinet door slowly closes. Whatever is closed isn't caught on camera. Not long after, a big heavy door slowly opens before being jarringly half shut. They approach the door. There is nothing on the other side. As the scary video wraps up, one of the crew is taking in a dark room when they hear a faint noise in the darkness.
Como lo hicimos en aquella ocasión que entramos a este.
They look over, shining a light there but find nothing. What is following them through this church? Perhaps a demon that couldn't be redeemed. Following was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Urban Ghost Hunters 901 while filming B-roll in an abandoned church for a future overnight investigation. He caught something frightening on camera. One camera was in a fixed place, capturing a steady shot of a book set on a railing, surrounded by lit candles, while the cameraman was behind the other camera, filming the rest of the room. You can hear the book hit the ground loudly in both shots, while the Steadicam captures its fall. Nothing visible pushed the book or caused it to fall to the floor. In the comments, Urban explains in a more detail what happened. I was going to do a pan-up shot from the back of the church, and as I started to pan up, my camera blurred, as if it were trying to focus. Not saying it's paranormal because it was in low light, but as it blurred, and I was looking through the LCD display, I saw something fly right in front of me. Seems like something paranormal had arrived. When you play with the paranormal, you're bound to get burned. Think it's probably time to get out of there. A YouTuber named Jonathan senses something outside of his home and begins recording. He doesn't make it very far before he finds the source of his unease staring directly back at him.
Okay guys, so...
A small set of beady eyes in the darkness sends Jonathan running back into his home. I was positive it was just a cat until I noticed there are other eyes in the video too, like when he turns around here. Maybe Jonathan does have an overactive imagination and was frightened by a neighborhood cat. Or maybe he really is being watched in his own yard by an unseen network of nightmarish creatures. Take a look at this picture of Patty and Joe Martinez. Do you see anything wrong? Maybe if I circle it for you, it will help. This hideous creature over his shoulder looks like a dog at first, but its nose is too flat and pushed in, and the top row of human teeth form a snickering sneer. The yellow eyes are open as wide as possible, and there's a tiny pupil at the very bottom, meaning it is looking down at you. Photo experts have verified this picture is real, which is absolutely terrifying. After all, there's no reason for anything that scary to be anywhere near a wedding anniversary, especially behind you. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021, that's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. A father and his two children explore this abandoned house as a strange way to bond together, but I think it might have ended up ripping them apart. They cross into the dark kitchen and immediately hear a wild growl, followed by low whispers and a pair of glowing eyes. They are hurrying out of the house as fast as they can, but debris is everywhere, and they have to move slow. Just when they are about to leave, they find the way blocked by their absolute worst fears. The thin ghoul is barely reminiscent of a human. Its features wide and dark and taking up large portions of its face. Its eyes and nose are missing. Its mouth nothing more than a wide cavern, extending from cheek to cheek. A fearless ghost hunter named Hassan Barbar takes on a demon in its own home in one of the creepiest paranormal explorations I've seen in a while. First, his Snapchat filter, which uses facial recognition technology, detects a ghost right in front of him, though I suspect it might be falsely detecting a face from this square on the wall. But what the filter could possibly mistake for a face here at 3 minutes and 37 seconds, I have no idea. Maybe it is a ghost. A bizarre trail of flashing dog images does seem to lead him to the real thing, and the extra creepy stuff is all caught on camera.
الوضع جدا مخيف. هاي والله فيش.
The demon is in a small cramped room with no exit, and so Hassan Barbar fearlessly charges forward, fearing no demon. He is expected to have caught it up close on camera, but instead the small room is mysteriously empty, despite there being no other path for it to have escaped through besides the doorway through which he came.
عطول وينه؟
He follows the Snapchat filter back to the mysterious square wall, and that's when he sees it again.
طب خليك طب بدي احكي معك انا بدي احكي معك.
He runs outside only to find the demon has disappeared from the other side of the wall. The Snapchat taunts him with further positives for a facial recognition.
لازم نحكي معاه. وين بروح وين بيختفي؟ مش عارف. هي في إشي حتى هون.
He goes to where the figure was just standing and looks through the wall inside. Sure enough,
طلع في شي جنبه زي نار.
By now, he understands that this jinn can teleport easily and will not be caught today because it simply does not want to be. He leaves for now, sure to be back another day with a plan to draw it even closer next time for a better look at its gruesome face. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything that can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you'd be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on livestream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary livestream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you traveled to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. Jal Bundy has caught some weird things on camera while exploring the forest outside of his village late at night. In front of them is the white outline of a phantom apparition that for some reason stands out against a backdrop of total darkness. When they rush towards the apparition, you can see it shrinks into a small ball of paranormal energy and disappears around the tree. Is this strange ball of light edited or really paranormal is what I want to know. I feel like this video could be real because it's late at night. They sound scared and those woods look scary too. Freaky, right? This video comes from a YouTube channel in Poland called The Slamming Door, which was named after a loud poltergeist who frequents a small home in Europe. The owner of the home eventually sets up cameras in all of the main rooms to capture the highly aggressive spirit in action. Everything looks normal in this bedroom until about 50 seconds into the video when the poltergeist demands to be acknowledged. It targets a video game collection and sends cases to the floor. This could have been done with a string, but watch again and it does look like an invisible entity swipes everything off the shelf in one smooth motion with their arm. Also, this is a fairly big gaming collection, so if this was fake, you'd think they would knock over something less expensive that they didn't collect or otherwise care about the condition of. This final video is what finally drove them out of the house once and for all. They enter only to find the house has been trashed, and it seems like a spirit is following them around as they explore room to room. They return to the same bedroom in the previous video, and something is in there with them that makes them jump. On the way out, the kitchen light swings wildly, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. I wish they would have recorded the entire room so we could verify that no one was in there with them, but they were obviously in too much of a hurry to fully document the occurrence. Stephanie Jenkins is filming her child at the bottom of some steps when suddenly she goes from smiling to startled.
Whoa.
The child definitely looks like she saw something, but she takes a few steps into the next room and then quickly forgets about it. Some people have noticed what appears to be an orb float overhead, while some people think that this is a speck of dust or something similar. Others think it could be a long-lost relative paying their respects to the next generation of kin. Put on your bowling shoes. Published by Joe MC in June of 2021, a mysterious bright light is roaming the lanes of this bowling alley. The light is seen hovering distantly into a lane to the far left for a minute before shooting to the right. The twinkling light pauses for a moment in one lane before shooting left again. It hovers there and flies about a minute more before the clip ends. What is this strange light? Is it the soul of a bowling enthusiast? If it is, I hope he gets a strike. Daffy of Busan TV is a YouTuber from Ambon, Indonesia, who makes ghost hunting videos in Depok City. One of the scariest, most haunted places he's ever gone exploring was a large abandoned hospital that shut down after too many things went wrong.
Ya, belum lama rumah sakit ini terbengkalai. Astagfirullah. Serem amat ya.
One of the hospital's final mistakes before getting shut down was letting a nun named Sister Nancy pass away on the ICU floor. Now her angry spirit is watching over this haunted place and not in a loving way.
Assalamualaikum. Wow. Antara gua halu atau tidak, tapi tadi gua ngeliat seperti ada orang lewat di sini.
As Daffy goes exploring, only the smallest of clues, flashes of light where his camera is not pointing, for example, belie the presence of anything paranormal. A walled-off entrance reveals an even older wing that feels entirely wrong. This place is haunted more than any other part of the hospital. He's sure of it. Soon he finds the ICU room on the second floor, the place where the ghost nun is said to haunt. He knows there's no turning back now.
Tadi gue mendengar sesuatu dari arah sini. Oke, kita langsung aja ke ruang ICU. Suster Nancy.
He leaves the ICU ward feeling extremely uncomfortable, but without conclusive paranormal evidence, and as he takes a final look around.
Keren, sumpah ini keren. Assalamualaikum.
He hears something moving on wheels one room over. A row of cots remains undisturbed except for one that's been pulled out. I don't know if it was Sister Nancy, but I wouldn't stick around to find out. This video is over half an hour long, and I get every impression that he's truly exploring this abandoned hospital all by himself. A hospital that's every bit as haunted as the rumors say. This video requires a bit of backstory. In 1961, Massachusetts housewife Stella Lansing started to experience things of an extraterrestrial nature, including men in black, humanoids, UFOs, and otherworldly visions. She captured much of her experiences on various types of film. It wasn't until 1967 that Stella bought a silent 8mm film camera. Although she'd taken photographs of the odd sightings, the film camera captured more strange images and structures that Stella never saw in person, but that turned up on film. And yet again, Stella came across the strange lights while driving on Route 32. She exited her car to see them better, as did another driver. The lights were yellowish and, as Stella described, silently walking from east to west to the old cemetery. The other driver had also seen the lights. This was Stella's chance to catch the orbs on her 8mm camera, so she headed back home to retrieve it and then returned to the intersection. More lights appeared, with one of the red ones bouncing like a rubber ball, as she described. A friend showed up and the pair watched the lights together until they burst into a white light. As she continued her recording of these strange events into the 70s, she discovered an odd clock-like pattern on her photos and films, as well as geometric pattern overlapping the frames on the film itself. The mystery only grew in 1991 when a TV show called Sightings did a segment on Stella's video logs. When they exported her silent 8mm film to VHS, unknown voices were heard. Stella has since passed away in 2012, and no one can explain the mystery of her sightings. A ghost was seen in Benares, India, walking across rooftops. The sighting scared many locals and led to a police investigation. Twitter user Benaresians tweeted this video of the incident. Did you see the figure? Take a closer look. So far, the police haven't discovered what the figure was or who was behind it. Maybe that's because it's absolutely real. What do you think? I'm on the fence with this one. Gabby and Amy are TikToking at their university, but the extra eerie all-white figure behind them steals the spotlight. I don't know if this is a guy creeping on them or what, but it doesn't move at all the whole time and looks really tall, coming up about halfway to the door behind. This could also be a statue, but it looks out of place and barely there, like it could vanish at any moment. Two friends are creeping around a forest in Granada, Spain when they stumble upon something they were never meant to see. The humanoid is likely hunched over its prey as the two approach. They accidentally make a noise and the humanoid's keen ears detect them instantly. It looks up from his meal, ready to attack. You can see that this creature is thin and bony. It looks skinny and sunken in, fast, with a high metabolism. Its reaction time seems way too quick for any ordinary person. Some urban explorations go from 0 to 100 pretty quickly, and this is one of them. Published to YouTube by Chris Hopkins in June of 2020, while exploring an abandoned naval base on a cold, windy night. As soon as Chris and his crew walked into this building, they heard a loud bang right beside them.
Over there.
Still, they decided to explore the rest of the base, no harm done, until they were getting ready to leave. After walking through the woods, as they were squeezing through a hole in the fence to get to their car, they heard what Chris describes as a Bigfoot or a ghost chasing after them. He says it again sounded like it was right next to them. The demonic roar is heard at least 2 more times after they get through the fence. Chris says they were running so fast that his friend lost his phone in the escape. Of course, other than the creature with big feet, there are other theories. Some think the roar came from a wild pig or a goat man, and some agree that it does indeed sound demonic. Any other ideas? Those ones already have me terrified. A bolt lock can't keep the paranormal out. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in April of 2021. This is a true house of horrors. As Russian paranormal investigator Dennis looks around the unsettling home, something appears to let itself in. Dennis backs off and shuts the door behind him, but that doesn't stop the unwelcome guest. After verifying that there's no one there, Dennis returns to his investigation. Close by, he hears a loud knock. Later, the wardrobe drawers open on their own. And what looks like newspaper is shoved up from one of them. Then the wardrobe doors open one at a time. The second one repeatedly swings open and shut. Dennis walks toward it and there's nothing inside, yet it continues to open and close. This occurs for several minutes. Later, he hears a noise. A bunch of racket draws him to this cupboard. It sounds like all the dishes inside are jumping around. Opening the cupboard doors, he finds nothing out of place. He then hears another noise and finds a bag moving as it hangs on the wall, like there's an animal trapped inside of it. He takes the bag from its hook and opens it, but again, there's nothing inside. When he puts it back down on the bed, it continues to move. What is inhabiting this haunted home? Whatever it is, it let itself in. A YouTuber named Miguel Alvarez is racing down the road at high speeds for a very good reason. He catches up to a red car and immediately gets the driver's attention.
Hey! It's on fire!
It's on fire!
The flames quickly crawl up the vehicle and soon reach the engine. What you see here is the end result just before firefighters arrived and contained the blaze. It looks bad, but things could have been way worse. The woman could have still been inside of this vehicle, if not for the heroic actions of Miguel Alvarez and his friends. Real Victoria is woken up by her cat hissing at something it sees in the bedroom window. The cat goes quiet when she starts recording, but it's definitely focused on some activity outside. She says this creepy looking character was looking in through her window, and he very well may have been, but at 4 seconds he also seems to be looking up and trying to get the attention of someone in the room above him. In fact, I think I hear him shout something and whistle loudly at the beginning of this video. What is he saying here? Eventually, he steps away and out of sight. I guess he either saw the camera, or he finally got the attention of someone in the unit above. Whatever he was up to, having a complete stranger anywhere near where you live at 5 in the morning is oddly terrifying. With that said, I do believe her, and I hope Real Victoria stays safe until her lease is up and she can get out of there. Imagine you were walking past an abandoned factory when you saw this. Edge Ninja published this terrifying video in March of 2017, although it was recorded all the way back in 2013. Edge Ninja explains, the factory, as it was dubbed, had been an eerie fixture in our neighborhood since before my family even moved in. In 30 years, I never saw a single person or vehicle go in or out. The YouTuber walks around the building to confirm that the lights are flashing in multiple wings. Even creepier as Edge Ninja zooms in on a light in a stairwell near the end of the video. YouTuber Oreo the Wolf Fox points out a ghoulish image in the left window, what appears to be a face. Cue the shivers. This building is no longer abandoned. It was renovated and is now used as a factory for a watch company. One wonders if the new factory workers have crossed paths with this creepy figure in the window. Tim, John, and Ben are going to explore a house in the back of the woods that is rumored to be where a clan of worshippers do all kinds of rituals. They wander around in the woods for a while until a rickety white house rises from the darkness. Inside, warnings are spray painted all across the walls in big dark letters, but they do not heed them and press on. Tim, John, and Ben take turns breaking stuff and jumping out at each other, but suddenly the three become very serious and quiet when they find a dungeon-like basement that leads straight down. The dark area smells extremely foul, and they cover their nose and mouths with their shirts to lessen the stench. The only thing down there besides them are two dolls hanging by their necks, or at least that's what they think. Suddenly, all three of them are running from what sounds like a creature with a low, throaty growl.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, please, Robert! Okay, you gotta go.
If this noise is real, then it almost has to be the end result of a terrible ritual that none of us are brave enough to see. This footage is believed to have been shot somewhere in France. It starts out with a UFO sitting on the hillside that quickly flies away. The next shot shows it hovering in the air, and then we are shown this footage of what appears to be a group of aliens conversing on the ground. It looks like they are talking about whatever it is aliens talk about as they casually observe their surroundings. Maybe they were talking about technical difficulties with their ship, or else they were simply stretching their legs between planets. It doesn't look like they are aware that they are being recorded. The UFO again takes off and disappears in a beam of light. If you had a chance to visit a haunted hospital, would you? YouTubers Ogden Paranormal became this haunted hospital's reluctant patients when they stepped into Asylum 49. Published to YouTube in September of 2019, Ogden Paranormal wrote, "The old 2L Hospital is one of the most haunted places in Utah, if not the most haunted. This location was made famous by the Ghost Adventures crew, who have now visited twice due to the incredible evidence they captured the first go-around. Ogden has investigated this place several times, and this time they returned to investigate who or what scared them out of the place years prior." A little background on the old 2L Hospital. As one of Utah's major paranormal sites, the underfunded hospital was without a morgue, leaving the passed away stacked and waiting for their paperwork. Patients have stuck around the place, showing themselves even to those retired folk who resided in and what remained of the building. It's said that sightings of ghost children often precede someone's passing. Others believe the child ghosts are actually demons, and they aren't the only spirits that appear there. A nurse in white roams the hallways, a man dressed in black appears at 3 a.m., and a little girl has been known to appear and then vanish. So who did Ogden Paranormal encounter during their investigation? Let's see firsthand. Granted, this asylum has been turned into a haunted house, so much of the creepiness you see in the video is set up to appear that way, but other things can't really be explained. About 4 minutes in, they head into the nursery, where a creepy old lady statue is posed. They are alone back here, or so they think. Look at the window to the left. Something passes beyond, creating a shadow figure in the frame. It moves out of frame once they come nearer the old lady. Later on, two of the crew see a figure down one hallway. As they're slowly making their way down the hallway, a giggle is heard in one of the rooms. The room is empty apart from some freaky mannequins.
Where you at, Wes?
Later, while all gathered in a conference room, they hear footsteps.
What's that?
Have you not moved?
No.
You guys heard those footsteps over here, right? I thought that was you, man.
During their ghost box session, spirits are responding with frequency. One tells them good luck repeatedly, and one of the spirits brings up Skittles, which had been part of the conversation on a previous visit to the asylum. Little anomalies and disembodied breathing are also heard throughout the investigation. Makes you wonder, are there spirits here? Or are these mannequins about to come? Jeff Wesley is a paramedic whose YouTube channel gives us a glimpse into the frantic lives of emergency medical service technicians everywhere. Today, he must drive an ambulance full speed into the heavy rains, making his job more difficult than usual. The roads are slick and the driver visibility is very low. Every intersection is a serious gamble. Sometimes the roadways grow narrow and give cars a little difficulty pulling over. At one point, some local wildlife even veers into the ambulance's path at the last minute.
Oh, come on, Doc. Jesus. I missed it. I didn't hit it.
Despite all of this, Jeff Wesley gets to the scene quickly and is able to provide help. I just want to give a shout out to Jeff Wesley and all of the other EMS workers like him for their courage and service, as this video clearly demonstrates. A YouTuber named Q-Bang Guy receives a deep web mystery box with a pile of old electronics inside. He notices an outdated cassette player with headphones, so he puts them on and hears a woman saying the same thing over and over again in a different language. Listen to this part and let me know if you can translate. Something about the woman's tone sounds menacing to me, almost as if she is making a twisted prediction. If you speak the language, please let me know if I am right. This driver and his friend both spot something strange while driving in Davidson, Maryland. They claim that this is a large black mass. I don't see anything during this first part, but let me know if you do.
Dude, get out of here. Back up, bounce back.
I definitely see something here though, and I'll even highlight it for you.
There it is again. I see it. Get out of here. Go.
What's crazy is how the object mysteriously disappears in less than a second. Based on how fast they speed away, I have little doubt that this video is absolutely real, and they felt like their lives were at risk. After a series of unexpected passings in his family, YouTuber Slightly Scared 2012 experienced this. Do you see a face in the fabric? The YouTuber believes it's his departed cousin's face. The cousin in question passed away, falling from a highway overpass, and within hours, this face appeared on the seat of the chair while the YouTuber was sitting in it. I wish we had a picture of his cousin to compare, but nevertheless, I definitely see a face here, but whether it's pareidolia or not is the big question. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, "Couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened, apart from one brightly lit window on the second floor. There stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around, before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment. comments, likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him. Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. Well, that may be so. You could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. A supposed mermaid was captured sunning itself on the rocks beside this murky lake. Posted to TikTok. You may want to avoid the water after seeing this clip. Did you notice that there are two of them? You can see the other one's head peek up. Well, some in the comments say this is a real mermaid, and mermaids in fact look scary like this. I'm not so sure about this video's authenticity. I did some digging online, and it turns out the video's original source is YouTube channel, JJPD Producciones, which specializes in CGI. Whether you choose to believe this is real or fake, it is definitely an impressive reimagination. This ghost has had a few too many. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Best of Us, here is yet another haunted bar whose resident ghosts' sauced up antics were caught on camera. Watch the bottles to the left of the bar. One bottle on the second shelf starts to nudge toward the edge. While a wet surface sometimes has that effect on items placed on that surface, it usually doesn't lead to this. After inching slowly toward the ledge, the bottle takes a sudden jarring leap, knocking a second bottle below it off the display. This doesn't seem like a natural progression. Rather, it seems like the bottle was yanked from the ledge by some unseen entity. Many in the comments relate their own stories of haunted bars, with Redditor Your Dumb Idiot chiming in. I used to work at a bar that was haunted. Always the same bottle thrown off the shelf in the morning despite me moving it to prove it wasn't a ghost. Well, many, including myself, wonder what these bar ghosts could possibly want from us by throwing bottles around. Redditor Tech Impaired has one theory. He writes, they just wanted some booze. I see what they did there. Lizzie Arts is freaked out in her own home because a ghost is haunting her.
Just woke up to smoke a lot.
Weird things are caught on camera all of the time. Really creepy stuff like when the ghost kept setting off the smoke alarm all night.
I'm home alone. I know which one it is. It's my one. It's right over there.
The ghost seems to turn the smoke alarm on upon her mention.
We have 2 more smoke alarms in the house. There it goes again.
And instantly stops when she yells at it.
You need to stop that! I know, that scares me.
There are 2 other smoke alarms that the ghost is not bothering with, just this one by her room. I think she should try changing the batteries and see if it still happens. If that doesn't solve it, then that means this video is really paranormal with more creepy videos to follow, I'm sure. A news reporter hears a train approach and gets an idea for a shot.
Here, let's do it with the train.
The idea is to have her walk into the shot and let the train pass by for dramatic effect. The only problem is she can't look over her shoulder because it'll ruin the shot. She has to guess how close the train is, and her estimations are a little off.
20 minutes after midnight. Oh!
She manages to take 2 steps and is barely off the tracks when the train flies by. This could have ended a lot differently, and there would have been absolutely nothing for the cameraman to do to stop it. This ghost sighting will send chills down your spine. Published to YouTube by TechWorld TV in August of 2014, this video shows a haunted Hindu cremation site. A man arrives at this site in India to investigate a local story. According to the man, he was walking down this dirt road when he saw an entity at this place. The investigator explains that passed away individuals are taken there for their last rites. Nobody lives here, apart from packs of stray dogs. As the man navigates around the puddles on the wet road to approach the ceremonial sites, dogs start barking like crazy at a distance.
In this place.
Then the man shouts that he just saw an entity floating from the building further back. Upon closer inspection of the video, you can see the white vapor the man is talking about. It appears in the darkness under the veranda before floating up and then vanishing. While some point out the vapor moves simultaneously with the camera. One Redditor, Ricky Jaikaran, notes, "I would have said it was a smudge on the camera if the dogs hadn't started to bark at the same time. What do you think? Coincidence or a spirit ascending?" Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.